Speedkiller. I hate dawdling like this, growled Rusty. I get hot and uncomfortable. Sorry, old chap, replied his driver. We can't go any faster, or the weed killer won't spread properly. Rusty knew this, but he still itched to go quicker. His train that morning was a flat truck with a large tank on it. A pipe hung across the line behind the truck's buffers, and when the man in charge turned a tap, liquid sprayed onto the track through holes in the pipe. The weed-killing train was used only once a year, but that was once too often for Rusty. He hoped that Fred, the other diesel, would pull the train today, but Fred was ill. So he says, muttered Rusty darkly to himself. It was a holiday weekend. The Fin controller had expected plenty of visitors, but even he was surprised at the number who came. It was Renius's turn to take the first train, and he happily pulled the empty coaches to the station. So many people were on the platform that Renius could hardly see it. Whew! He puffed. How are all this lot going to get on the train? Will you go back for another carriage, please? Asked the Fin controller. I'm arranging an extra train later in the day. The time spent fetching the carriage made Renius late. He hated being late, but he knew that today it wasn't his fault. Hurry, 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 he panted, trying to make up for lost time. They did well until they reached the middle station, where they had to stop. Rusty and his weed-killing train were waiting in the loop for them. Nipped all those little weeds in the bud, have you? Called Renius as the engines passed each other. Beyond the middle station, the line rises steeply for a short way, so that it can cross a stream. The engines like to be able to get a run at this hill, especially when they have a heavy train. Today, Renius had to pass very carefully, some hedge cutters working at the foot of the hill. This meant that he couldn't get a proper run at it. He struggled hard, but soon his wheels began to slip. Halfway up, he slithered to a halt. My wheels won't grip, he complained. The fireman got down. The rails feel greasy, he said. Must be Rusty's weed killer, and the extra coach doesn't help either. Bother that Rusty, said Renius. It's not weed killer he's using. It's Speedkiller. Never mind, comforted his driver. We'll go back to the bottom and put plenty of sand on the rails. That should do it. The guard told the passengers what was planned, and Renius gently backed his train to where the hedge cutters were working. Then they paused so that Renius could gather his breath. He whistled bravely. Here goes. As they moved forward, the fireman turned on the sandpipes. I can do it! I can do it! Renius snorted. Slowly, very slowly, Renius reached the stream and crossed it. I will do it! I will do it! I have done it! Renius panted as the coaches crept after him across the bridge. Well done, Renius, said his driver. Now let's try to make up for lost time. They did. their best, but the passengers had only a little while to admire the lake at the top station. They didn't mind. They said they enjoyed the brave way Renius had got them up the hill.